And obviously, I noticed when I did briefly look at the Mercury article about Labour's council manifesto, it Salisbury says the aim is for no one to be sleeping on the streets, which is a great aim. I subscribe to that. But you've had 8 years and it's gone up and up and up. So, you know, you need a drastic turnaround to change that. Of course, it's not all the fault of the City Council. It's about austerity in general being carried out, particularly by the Tory government. But let's be honest, some previous Labour policies also contributed to that as well, echoing the point that Chris made before. Not under Jeremy Corbyn, but certainly under previous Labour leaders. What needs to be done? Well, build council houses for a start. We've had a huge drop in the number of council houses nationally, but also in Leicester. Obviously, people here know Thatcher started the policy of the sell-off of council houses, the right to buy, and those council housing stock was never replaced and replenished. Under all the years of both Labour and Tory Liberal governments, it was never replenished. And what happened was, a huge chunk of people were forced into private rented accommodation, where the rents are higher and where the security is lower. And, you know, that's not a solution either. And as far as affordable housing, it's a joke. Because what they say is affordable housing is not affordable to the majority of people in this city. What it has to be, in my view, is council housing. I'm fine with housing associations, social housing, but I prefer council housing, which has got the control democratically, hopefully with a more democratic system than the mayoral system, of the local authority, so that it's actually accountable to people. And it could be done. The councils can borrow money to build houses. You know, they have got some money which they are now allowed to spend from the sale of council houses, but they need to borrow money to build housing. But they're allowed to borrow it, especially if they're going to get a return on that. So you build a house, you lay out a load of money, but you'll get rent back from that house over a period of time. So you borrow money, it makes perfect sense. And we would aim to build 1,000 houses a year in Leicester during the next 4 years to start to solve the problem. Won't solve the problem. There's 6,000 people on the council waiting list. You know, and there's more people homeless than on the waiting list, in reality. So it's not just those on the streets. Obviously, that's the, if you like, the most severe end of the scale needs to be solved. But there's a lot of other homelessness that's hidden as well that isn't on there. So, you know, above all, it's about building council housing. By the way, councils have the power to compulsory purchase as well. So those sort of powers could be used to take empty properties back into community ownership. The last point I want to make is, Chris is absolutely right, it's also about national policy. And of course, many of these problems, you're not going to completely solve by being, you know, running a council. It needs a national movement to do that. That's of course why I'm a socialist. And I think we need a socialist society that's not run in the interests of a handful of billionaires, a handful of rich individuals whose wealth has rocketed up over a period of time, but a society where the wealth is in the hands of the vast majority of people and used democratically for the benefit of everyone. Yeah.